Hey guys, Culture here. Usually I use this time to point out some sort of issue I have with how society operates in the 21st century, or break down how interpersonal reactions can be flawed, and trust me, there are plenty more gripes I have. But today I want to switch gears a little bit and approach a topic from a more positive standpoint. Every day you wake up, you do something, and then you go to bed. That's life in a nutshell. But what is that something in the middle of the day that's so worth waking up for? I'm not trying to act emo, I actually plan on giving an answer, but I wonder how many people take their time out to think about life on a grand scheme. If you want to be philosophical about it, a fair question would be, what's the meaning of life? If there's no overarching force guiding us or directing us, which let's assume for now that there isn't, then perhaps the most pertinent question to us is, how can I create meaning in my life? The way I see it, we can give life meaning in one of two ways. We can either live the happiest life possible, or we can leave a legacy behind for after our life is over. Of course, ideally, we can achieve both of these things. So let's zoom in a bit closer and see if we can play the perfect game. Happiness is such an essential part of our lives that it goes without explanation. But nailing down the types of happiness we feel is a much more complex endeavor, and one which I'm not even going to attempt to complete. Instead, I'll simplify happiness into two forms. The first is the type that we might get on a Saturday night out with friends. It's laughing at a joke, it's getting drunk, it's being stupid for fun, and, if you're lucky, it's getting lucky. It's basic, it's hedonistic. Hedonism is the pursuit of pleasure and self-indulgence, and this is a way for many people to gain happiness from their life. Perhaps the issue with this tactic is that of highs and lows. That is to say, is it possible to maintain that high indefinitely? To never experience the fallout from your actions? To not crash? And no, I don't mean that crash. He's far from living the ideal life. But he is hedonistic, and maybe he's a good example of what I'm talking about here. Ultimately, this type of happiness is superficial and fleeting. I'm not going to say that it's a bad way to live your life, but it certainly doesn't appeal to me. The second type of happiness is that of satisfaction, the positive feeling you get from accomplishing a goal. This could be any goal, whether it's performing a song, finishing a book, or literally scoring a goal in your soccer game. Of course, as you can see from just these examples, goals can be large or small, but all of these examples follow the same two steps, a setup and a payoff. Let's take the example of making a YouTube video to explain what I mean, because, well, it's pretty obvious why. The setup is writing, recording, animating, editing, and a bunch of other small jobs in between. It's hard work, frustration, and a lot of time spent trying to squeeze out creativity logs. Eventually, though, you produce the end product and release it to an audience. The payoff is getting to see the audience engage with the work, respond to it, and share it with their friends. These rant videos are essentially a platform for my own opinions, so seeing people discuss what I say is enjoyable, and helps me improve my own understanding of the world. But if we were to concede that the setup is inevitably unenjoyable, then we'd be giving up. There must be some way to get the same satisfaction out of hard work as we get from reward. One way I was always taught to do this was goal setting. I remember countless hours spent with people visiting our class at school and giving us special lessons on what they called SMART goals. SMART is an acronym for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. You can probably guess what each of those words means, but if you want to look into it more, just Google it. The reason I bring these rules up is that they're designed to promote self-confidence and motivation by breaking large goals into smaller goals. Each time you achieve one of these small, easily attainable steps, you feel a minute portion of satisfaction, instead of building the satisfaction to experience it all at once. Have you ever had those tubes of M&Ms? I'd get them for Easter or Christmas, and it always went one of two ways. Either I ate the M&Ms one at a time, spacing them out and getting small doses of delicious candy-coated chocolatey goodness, or, far more often, I would give in to my animalistic instincts and down the whole tube in one mouthful, the sugar saturating my tongue. It was amazing, of course, but it was fleeting, and I'd instantly be met with regret as I realized I had no more M&Ms left. My point is that those who can discipline themselves, who can dose out their satisfaction, will be happier in the long run. I like to think of this idea as a kind of telescoping goal set. In the example of making a YouTube video, the largest goal is to finish the entire video. Then you could say that finishing a script is a sub-goal. Finishing a topic in a script is a smaller goal, writing a joke well is even smaller, and even having the idea for the joke, that spark, is perhaps the smallest goal. Once you can gain pleasure from even these small acts, then it becomes far easier to get motivated. But the best thing about this sort of happiness, the satisfaction that comes from finishing something creative, is that it also feeds into the second purpose of life that I outlined at the start: leaving a legacy. Even after we leave the mortal realm, our work and our ideas can live on. Just because we aren't around to see it doesn't mean we can't derive a certain type of pleasure from the legacy we leave. A legacy doesn't just have to be a book or a movie or something else physical, it can also be a change in the social fabric. People like Martin Luther King and Che Guevara are remembered for their political revolutions, promoting opinions and implementing systems which advance their societies. Of course, there is one way of leaving behind a legacy that should be obvious to us as social animals: the way we're remembered by our family and friends. You don't have to change the world to be remembered. Some of the greatest heroes are unsung community members who make changes on a smaller but equally important scale. They're remembered fondly and looked upon as role models, leading by example to shift the perception of the generations that follow them. There's also an intrinsic joy to interacting with people that's imbued in all of us, and that propels us into sharing our experiences and knowledge with one another. Ultimately, I believe that the purpose we create in life should be to add to a constantly evolving and morphing stream of ideas. This stream is archived in our words, our work, and in the people who we interact with. It can range from pop culture and entertainment to philosophy and politics, but at its core the stream is about a concept that is timeless. Even if we were all wiped out and all trace of our existence destroyed, the stream would still exist because the ideas are persistent. But what changes is which ideas take prominence in this stream, which ideas are focused upon more by certain people around the world, the zeitgeist if you will. The internet is a great confluence of differing streams, and that's what makes it such a rich resource to draw from. That's why I love adding to that stream, even in just a small way. My personal obsession is with stories. Stories in any form fascinate me, whether it be a song, book, movie, game, or whatever other form. I love them because they highlight the ideas in their stream. They provide a window into the stream and give just a glimpse of the themes and motifs which we deal with every day. They inform us about the human condition. Life has meaning because not only can we add to this persistent stream, this thing that exists outside of and beyond our lives, but because dealing with this stream is enjoyable, and that should give everyone motivation. Motivation to find out what our strengths are and then utilize them and sharpen them to aid in this stream. Or at least that's how I feel anyway. I didn't intend to get so deep in this episode, but I hope you guys watching find the motivation to start your own projects and collaborate with other creators. If you find meaning in life in a different way, or have a special way that you get motivated, then as always, vent in the comments section below.
Follow Culture Crush on social media! Like and subscribe for more!